edition of Redskins Review. This show is being taped on Thursday, November 8th, and we are dubbing this Redskins Future Review as we're trying something new. Tonight we're going to look back at the Redskins program from its infancy, or from the start of it, I should say. We are going to be talking with some future Redskins, along with their current coach and their future coach. With me, as always, Dan Albers, and also joining me is Redskins head coach Jeff Giesting and Nagel Middle School coach Jim Schaefer. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And we really have no format planned here, so we're just going to wing it a little bit here, and then we'll talk with the coaches, and then we'll bring in some of the future Redskins later on in the show. So I'll just start off here, and Jeff, talk a little bit about your involvement with the middle school teams. How many times do you go to practice? How many times do you go to their games? What's that like?
Well, we try to be as involved as much as we can. I mean, we still have our season going on, and sometimes the schedules are conflicting when they're playing and when we're practicing and things like that. But I got over to a couple preseason practices. I believe it was the 7th grade that I watched a couple times, and then I think I got over to Nagel, saw 3 games. I think the first game, and then saw bits and pieces of another game, and then the last game. And like I told the team after the last game, it was interesting to watch, because when you don't go to every game, you kind of notice a lot more differences, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of progress from the first to the last game that I saw. But getting back to the involvement part of it, it's important. We try to be there as much as we can. Scott Peters, one of our assistant coaches, teaches at Nagel, so he was at some games, and Mark Nagy, another coach, was there watching his 7th grade son play. So, we get there as much as we can and try to be a resource for Jim and his staff and help them out, and, along with giving them some guidelines on what we'd like to see.
Okay. When you go to the practices and go to the games, I mean, do you make mental notes? Oh, this kid looks good at running back, but I wonder if he can be a wide receiver when he gets to high school.
No, not
like
really.
that?
I just kind of watch as the structure of it all, and let the kids know I'm supporting them, and so that they know we do care about their future as Anderson football players.
Good. Now, Jim, you coach the 8th grade or the 7th grade, or which?
8th grade.
8th grade.
Yes.
And who coaches the 7th grade team?
That would be Buddy Cunningham,
Yep.
J.T. Shelton, and one of the newer coaches. I'm not. What is his?
Andrew Meyer.
Andrew Meyer.
Okay.
J.T. and Buddy both come up through Anderson.
Oh. I recognize the name, J.T. Shelton.
Do you do a lot of that, the stuff that goes on, or do you run a lot of the plays, or does Coach, do you help them, give them some things that they would help them get ready when they get up to the high school level?
Yeah, we give them plays and formations and concepts and things we'd like to see, terminology, and they try to do the best they can with it. Don't have the amount of time we have to implement everything.
Mm-hmm.
Jim, you might want to speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, we use all the terminology, and where they may go 10 or 12 different formations, we might stick with the basic 3 or 4 and just run different motions, which is same tags that Jeff would run at the varsity level. And then, we have a base set with the zone blocking scheme that they use, and then, we try and throw a little bit of our own in there just to liven it up for the boys, a couple things. But it's pretty much following their lead, what they do.
What about so would the 7th grade have the same thing? So when they get up to 8th grade, they'll have it, or is that kind of?
Well, 7th grade's different because it's a mix. It's a mix of Anderson and Turpin kids, and it's.
That was my next question. I wondered how that works.
That's been, bandied about. Whether that could ever get changed or not, I don't know. But I don't even know how long it's been. The 8th grade used to be mixed when Nagel first started, and it's probably been 8-10 years.
The first group that switched was actually the state championship team.
Okay.
When they were juniors. They were the
right.
first one to where we actually had them split by the schools.
Right, for the 8th grade. So the 7th grade's different. They're still a mix. We just happen to have a couple former Anderson players coaching that group. So we really don't have as much contact, so to speak, with them. I mean, they're always welcome to come and, ask our opinion, and we're welcome to share our stuff with them. And they ran some of our stuff as well.
Yeah. Jim, talk a little bit about how you got involved here at Nagel, and what was your path to getting to be coach?
Really, it was just a matter of my son was a 7th grader the first year, had been a Forest Hills coach, went up to watch, and they really, they were lacking in coaches in general. And they asked me if I'd like to be a coach, and I said, well, I didn't want to coach my son anymore. So I went up to 8th grade and started as an assistant. And within 2 or 3 days, I was the head coach and told Vince he better look out. And I had about another week I'd have his job the way I was being promoted. And then did the first year there. And then when my son moved up, I went to 7th, which was JT and Buddy's class. And then when he went on to the high school, I moved up to 8th and have stayed there ever since.
Good. How many kids usually do you have on your team?
Anywhere from low 30s to actually the first year I had 48, I believe it was.
Wow.
So normally somewhere between 33 and 38, anywhere from in that area.
And how many kids come to you that have not played football before? I'm guessing the majority of them have played Pee Wee football, Forest Hills youth football.
Yeah, I would say 80 to 90% have played. Some kids just because of size, they couldn't play, or some kids just, the parents didn't want to get them into it until they were older. But I would say 85, 90% have already had youth experience.
Do you have a lot of the kids that you have going up through the program, and you see them at the varsity level? Do you remember, like, when you were coaching them, and did you think that some of these kids, man, I can't believe how well they've improved, or anything like that? Has that really hit you?
Absolutely. I've been Jeff's biggest fan, his coaching staff, because, not everybody has developed their savvy or their ability in 8th grade. And when I see some of the kids that are producing at the high school level and varsity and think of where they were in 8th grade, it's a credit to the coaches as well as the players for putting in the work. But, that's why you coach them all, because you don't know who's going to grow and who's going to...
We say the same things about kids we see as freshmen and sophomores and wonder how they're ever going to really help us. But there's always some guys that come along and have just really good senior years. Maybe they're not superstars or all-league players, but they're really solid high school football players. And they worked really hard at it. And you can't predict a lot of times. You can probably predict the good kids from 8th grade are going to be good players, but you can't tell who those next-level guys are. Your average guys that a lot of times are what puts a team over the top.
Right. Well, I mean, I can give a little bit of an example that I'm kind of thinking of right now is one kid that I don't remember him really playing a lot as a junior, but he played a lot as a senior. That was Tyler White. Or was it? And look what he's doing now. And he honestly, and I just got this from Denise, which is really neat to see, is that he's getting it was in a paper that some NFL teams are actually looking at him as a free agent.
Yeah.
And that just shows you right there how the kids some of them just mature real late.
Right. Yeah, Tyler was we tried to get him to start as a junior, and he just wasn't quite ready, and he played JV, and then he had a great senior year for us, and then went on to Ohio Dominican, and now I think he's a captain, and all-league type player, and
doing
that's
very
great.
well.
He's getting some looks.
And I think he's got long hair too, so we're gonna have to get rid of that.
And he would have been one of those kids in middle school that was big, but sometimes when you're big in the middle school, the rest of you hasn't really caught up, and it just doesn't all gel in 8th grade yet. But you coach them all, and they work. And like I said, when you see somebody produce as a senior that maybe didn't quite do it earlier, that's a product of more than just 1 year's work. That's that whole high school career.
Sure.
When you see guys that are playing on Saturdays now, like Greg Manns is starring for Toledo, and of course Andrew Norwell starring for Ohio State, it's got to be really rewarding to see that they've taken the next level, and they're really progressing to where they may even go to the next level after that.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, we follow those guys all the time, watch their games, try to go to some of their games, and it's neat to see, and it's neat to see those guys when they come back in the summer and talk to them how much they've matured as people, and they're not the goofy high school kid anymore, and they're just really, really young adults that got their heads screwed on, are doing the right things.
Jim, do your kids, when they come to practice on Monday mornings or Monday afternoons, do they talk about the Anderson game? Do they talk about, I was at the Anderson game and I saw this, and this is a great play? I mean, do they talk about that type of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the one thing that we try and instill in them, that, because it's at 8th grade is where we start this, that's the beginning of their family. They become part of that Anderson family, even as, we call ourselves Blue, but everybody knows who we are. And so it starts. They definitely are involved, and they follow it closely. And I can tell you from experience just with my son, I mean, even being the ball boys there, I mean, that was a prideful job. And I don't think the coaches or, Vince before you yourself, they don't take that lightly.
Right.
They really want them boys there and involved.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what we have going on tonight. We're honoring, I guess, some of the future Redskins that we have, and these are players that you've had play for you. Just quickly, just kind of talk a little bit about each one of the kids and what they meant to Nagel and what you see their future maybe for the Redskins.
And the three we have tonight are just good, solid teammates as much as players. I mean, they perfect example. We have Kyle Buckley. You know, I went back and watched some of our games, and Kyle was just a hard-nosed kid. He'll run you over, but he always helps the opponent up. You know, that's awesome. You know, but because as an opponent, nothing you like worse than somebody knocking you down, picking you up so he can knock you down again.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality. Sammie Choudhury had a knee injury through the year, and I've coached over 500 kids at Nagel. I've never seen a kid more determined to come back. He actually drove me nuts. Part of the time. He literally was. He asked me if I could call the trainer and get her to release him, which I told him I couldn't. But you know, he was right in my ear the game or two that he missed, and he would come back, and I knew his knee was hurting when he came back, but he would refuse to limp in front of me, and just, you know, that shows a lot. That you can't teach hard.
Right.
And then of course we have Dylan Browning, which, you know, I call him Baby Norwell. He comes from the flock.
Yep, the
we'll
flock of Norwells. Yep.
And you know,
The feeder cord.
he is just like the rest of them, probably a little more serious than Andrew was at that age. Andrew was kind of a jokester, but Dylan's just a big, good, athletic kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, he moves really well for a big kid. So it's a solid team.
Good. You anything else, Dan? I mean,
Just, you know, and about what positions do these guys play that maybe what you see them advancing to that at the high school level too?
Yeah, I mean, Dylan, I don't have to be a rocket scientist to tell you he's going to play on the line somewhere. And Kyle's very versatile. Kyle Buckley, he played linebacker for us. He started out as basically the FA, and then when Sammie was hurt, we moved him to tailback and basically remained there. And you know, he just played several positions. You know, he's very versatile. And then Sammie, same way. He played anywhere from started off at strong safety, moved up to what we call like our rover dog, outside linebacker. We'd even play him at nose sometimes because of his quickness could cause havoc. And he also played FA and tailback. So very versatile. You know, pretty much all three of them.
good. Jeff, you got anything else before we move to the next segment?
No, I think it's good. I just appreciate Jim and his staff, and you know how hard they work, and then the Nagel kids. You know, they're in a a difficult situation at times. I mean, you basically have two programs in one school over there, but they're still friends, and they do a nice job of you know, being 8th grade football players and not getting too caught up in some of the high school stuff.
Yeah, I have one other question before we move forward. 8th grade, so the 8th grade Turpin kids are separated on a separate team from the 8th grade Anderson kids.
Right.
Correct.
Do you practice together? Do you scrimmage each other? How does that work?
In years we have, and in years we haven't. It just depends on the practice times. You know, we all have work schedules, and
Right.
you know, our kids, the 8th grade blue, we go to study tables till, you know, basically 3:30, and then we start practice at 4 o'clock. So the silver team would practice a little bit earlier than us. So it was sometimes tough to, you know, mix this year, but kind of depends on the coach's schedule as much as anything. But when we do, it's not a problem. There's plenty of camaraderie there. It's no blood and guts. The kids can handle it. They're a good bunch. But it is, you know, it's a tough situation for them sometimes because I think people don't give them enough credit that they can handle that. Whether, you know, it was a game or a practice or whatever, they can handle it.
Right.
So when they're in 7th grade, I'm sure you're at all the games and taking notes and seeing what you got coming for the next year.
Yeah, but as Jeff said, it's kind of hard because the blue team might be half of the Turpin kids and half of the Anderson kids. So a lot of times in 8th grade, we're kind of starting over a little bit where the other teams that we play have been together, and when they jump into that next season, you know, they're going. And Jeff will tell you, and he's seen it in the last 4 or 5 years, the difference from our team in the beginning of the year to the end of the year is night and day. And literally, teams that we might play early in the year that we might lose to, it would be no doubt that we would compete or beat at the end of the year. But you know, we're just a step behind when we start.
Cool.
So we're working on that.
All right. Unless you have anything else, we'll move on to the next segment. Hey guys, thanks so much for coming out. We appreciate
you're welcome.
it.
Thank you.
It's fun to do
It's a
this.
pleasure.
And we're going to move forward. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to have 3 of the future Redskins with us. So stay tuned. We're back here on the special edition of Redskins Review, a Redskins Future Review, and we now have 3 of the future Redskins with us on the set. And we have Dylan Browning, Sammie C., and Kyle
Buckley. Yep.
Buckley.
Yes.
I almost said Buckner as in Bill Buckner, but anyway. Okay, so what we're going to do is, and this is very informal, guys, we're just going to, Dan and I are going to take turns asking you questions, and it'll be the same question for all 3 of you, and then we'll just go on from there. So we'll start off with, just tell me, the coaches told us first when they were here the first time, but what positions do you play? Kyle, what positions do you play?
I'm a running back, and then I'm a starting linebacker.
Okay. Sammie?
I'm tailback and linebacker.
Okay.
I was offensive line and defensive line.
Okay. So in the game situations, do you guys play both ways, or do you normally just play one way, or how does that work?
We usually, all 3 of us play both ways, offense and defense, and then coach will get the second string in. So we all play both ways, and then we'll get the other kids playing time.
Good. And let me just ask all 3, how long have you guys been playing football? Like, when did you start playing?
I've been playing since first grade for the Warhawks, so yeah.
I also played on the same team in 4th grade.
This is my 9th year playing. I've been playing since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
For Forest Hills. We actually all played for the Forest Hills program all together.
So you guys played from the very beginning. You guys all played together all the way up to. Are a lot of your teammates the same? You guys a lot of your teammates, or just you guys?
We've lost a lot of people along
Have
the
you?
way, but we still have us 3 and a couple others on the team.
Well, that's good. Okay, what is the thing that you guys like most about football? What is your favorite thing that sticks out with you guys? Dylan?
I like to hit.
That's good. What about you, Sammie?
I like running the ball.
All right. What about you?
Well, it's my first year, and just like Sammie, I love running the ball and getting the touchdowns.
That's good. And so you already answered a question about playing youth football together for a long time. And all right, now how about, and this is the big thing, is that we got a lot of, I'm a former Anderson grad and played football. Greg is a former Anderson grad as well, and there's a lot of guys that are tied into our alumni association. Talk a little bit about if you've had any of relatives or any brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, whatever you want to call it, that were involved in Anderson football in some way.
My father played for Anderson years ago. He was a wide receiver, and I just thought fall with him.
All right, that's good. What about you? You got any brothers or sisters, or that? Well, you got any brothers that went to Anderson, or uncles, or?
No, I have a sister that went to Anderson. She played soccer, but nobody played football.
Okay, and what about you, Dylan?
My uncles were the Norwells, so yeah, all 3 of them.
Yeah, those guys, we know them pretty well. So
We're very familiar with the Norwells.
Yeah, well, that's big. And do you guys do any other sports? Any other, at Nagel? Do you got basketball? What else you got there at Nagel?
I play basketball. I just came from a tryout, so.
That's good. What about you?
This is my first year doing wrestling, and I also do lacrosse.
Oh, wow. They have lacrosse at Nagel?
Well, not for Nagel. It's
Just a club team?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Sammie?
Football's the only Nagel sport I play.
Oh, is it? Okay. And then now here's a big thing now with you guys, because I never played in middle school. I only played in high school. And do you guys do a lot of lifting and conditioning and all that when you're in the 8th grade, or are you guys familiar with any of that stuff yet, or?
From what I've heard, we're not starting that till a couple months from now,
Oh,
January.
really?
Yeah.
So you guys will be doing that. So you're going to get right into the program come January, huh?
Yep.
Now, will you do that? You think you guys going to be doing that at Anderson, or will you be doing it at Nagel?
Probably at Anderson, the gym.
Going to Anderson? Okay.
Anderson has a rich tradition of football, as you guys know. Especially you should know this from your uncles. 4 or 5 years ago, they went to the state title game 2 years in a row. Do you remember that? Did you ever go to any of those games when they were going through their playoff run? Do you remember any of that?
Yeah, I remember going to the game against Turpin And then when we
The
won,
game.
Yeah, when we won.
At Princeton.
Last few seconds.
About you, remember?
I'm pretty sure I also went to that game too a while ago. Where
I think the whole township was at that game.
What about you, Sammie? Did you remember going to any of those games?
Yeah, I went to a couple of the games. I didn't go to the Anderson versus Turpin game, but I came to a couple home games.
Did you?
Well, what do you guys think would be the best thing about representing Anderson in football? What would be your favorite thing about being on the Anderson football team?
Just knowing that when we go out there every day almost playing football with our buddies, knowing that we're representing our team, our school, we're representing that how Anderson looks, how they respect the other team, just sort of like the all-around how Nagel acts.
Good, very good. Sammie?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to be like representing Anderson, giving a good name to it.
Good.
Also that, but I think playing on the field is just going to be fun and exciting, just being on the field.
And I think you guys are really excited about us broadcasting the games too, aren't you? Yeah, that's got to be a big deal, isn't it? I mean, you guys really, honestly, it's great to hear you guys say that because, you know, being a former player and playing back in the day, and we weren't very good, and to see that you guys have a great attitude coming up, and that's just a great thing to see, and that Coach Schaefer's done a good job of getting you guys ready to go, and hopefully Greg and I will be, you know, talking your name a lot and seeing you guys, and I'll be the one that you'll hear screaming and yelling all the time because I'm the one that usually does that, and I've almost fallen off the roof a couple times getting excited about the game. So that's just great to hear that you guys got a great attitude about that.
You know, what'd be fun is when these guys are seniors. We
Get
could,
them back.
We could go back and run a tape of
Absolutely.
this show, and then we could see what they looked like when they were in 8th grade.
And they'll be bigger than me probably, and not liking some of the things I say, and they'll probably come back and get me.
I don't think Dylan will be bigger than you.
I think he will.
So you guys play your home games at Nagel, correct?
Yeah.
Anderson has a great turf field. They've always had a turf field. They just got a new turf field. That's got to be kind of neat to know that you're going to be playing on a turf field real soon. Is your home field?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when we were all little, we'd practice on the grass, and then we get these games at Anderson, a couple even at Turpin. We're all excited. We're playing on the turf. We got the big stands. Everybody's watching. We all got excited.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. Have you guys ever watched our games that me and Danny do? Do you ever watch their on TV, on tape delay? Did you ever kind of come across them on the TV and watch the games?
Yeah, I came across one where you were interviewing Coach Kingston. And
I haven't really seen the games on TV, really.
I really haven't either.
Okay.
Oh, that's going to have to change, fellas.
right,
Come
that's
on.
right.
It's going to have to change.
You gotta watch the way we get so Homer bound when we do announce the games. What else you got, Dan?
Well, what about you guys watching? You know, we were talking to your coach, Coach Schaefer, and Coach Giesting, and talking about some of the formations and some of the plays that you guys run. Do you watch some of the games, or have you been to some of the games this year and say, "Hey, man, that looks familiar. That play looks good." Dylan, do you think that seen any of those? What about you, Sammie? Does anything look familiar?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Do they? What about you?
Yeah, you can just see like the basic structure of when you're looking at the field. You're like, "That looks
More the
almost-"
formations and seeing what they're doing, and if do you see? I see a lot of those guys. You guys have the wristbands like they do too.
Mm-hmm.
And explain to me so I understand what that means. What are you guys doing? Is that telling you where to line up?
Like, the plays and formations are written down on the wristband, so when the coach on the sideline, he gives a signal for the play, and we just run it.
Well, we never really asked about that. Dylan, what do you got?
well, it really just kind of gets us there quicker. No huddle, so it's just quicker and better pace.
And do you like that, the no huddle and the
Yeah.
quickness and getting ready?
Yeah.
And you know what that means, guys. That in high school, it's going to be a lot quicker and a lot faster than it is at Nagel. You know, and think about that too, guys. You had a guy last year that played at Nagel, Dylan Smith, that ended up kicking in his first varsity game. He's at Nippert Stadium. You know, so a lot of you guys are going to be playing some big games and playing some maybe at the Crosstown Showdown. Who knows? And it's got to be a pretty amazing thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of folks that comes to watch your games, or is it like mostly parents, or is there crowds that come to your games?
Well, mine, mostly my parents and my sisters. Like, my uncles try to come to my games, but, you know.
You mean Andrew can't make it, your uncle? He can't make
I
it?
can't make that.
Yeah, we'll have like family there, but even just some of the Nagel kids from Silver Football, just Nagel students, they'll come down and support the team.
And how is that with? I know that Turpin has their own group. I know you guys are the blue. Are they the white, or what are they considered?
Silver.
So do you guys got some friendly going back and forth at each other? Is it pretty nice? I mean, you guys are, I'm sure, probably all pretty good friends still.
Yeah. Like after games, we compare score and record and stuff like that.
And who's got the most touchdowns and who's scoring the most and all that stuff?
Yeah, just we bicker, but we're all good friends. It's not like in school we're beating each other up.
What do you guys think about as far as, are you guys excited about getting into the high school level? Are you guys ready to go at it? I mean, I'm sure, I know season just kind of ended now. And talk a little bit about that real quick and how you guys felt you did during the season.
During the season, I guess you could say we, like Coach Schaefer said, we were a step behind. We didn't have our full team together in 7th grade like Milford and all the other schools did. So we started a little bit behind, but we all caught on real quick. We realized we're not that behind. We caught back up. We started winning our games, and we ended up, it was a fair fight from there on.
What about you, Sammie? How do you think?
Yeah, from like the beginning and the end, we definitely improved a lot as a team.
Dylan, what do you think?
Well, yeah, we had a lot of improvement. We just had a bunch of changes, and we just improved.
And you guys, obviously you said that a lot of you guys went both ways. Were you guys getting a lot tired during a game, or were you getting used to it by the end of the season?
I was used to it.
What about you, Sammie? You get used to it?
Yeah, I mean, even last year I used to play both sides, so I was pretty used to it.
Well, real quick, while I got the microphone there with you, and your coach was talking about how you got injured. Talk a little bit about the injury that you had and how are you doing right now with it?
It was like a partial ACL tear, and but I didn't really want to get it checked out by the doctor, but I knew I had to. And I missed out on 2 games, but yeah.
All right. Well, you guys, I'll tell you what, we really do appreciate you guys coming here. I know it's a little bit hard. I know you guys probably don't talk in front of a lot of people. And you guys, I thought you did a great job talking. And Greg and I are really, really looking forward to calling your guys' names out. And I know Coach Geeson would probably get mad at me for saying this, but one of these days when you guys score a touchdown when you're in the varsity level, I want you to point up to me, all right? Point up to the press box, and I'll go crazy. And so Geesting probably won't like me saying that, but just blame it on me, okay?
All right.
Oh, no
Absolutely.
problem.
We want to thank the parents for getting the kids here to do, and Coach Schaefer and Coach Geesting for coming, and thank the folks here at the station for letting us have the studio and putting this on, and it's been fun, Dan.
Absolutely. And John Raymond, obviously, he does a lot for us during our Redskin review and all the stuff during the season that we have, and appreciate all his help. Everybody here in the studio. Again, the parents, it was just a hard trying to get everybody involved with the schedules and everything, and it's really, just really appreciate, and you guys need to appreciate your parents too, because they do a lot of stuff for you. And so we appreciate all the parents that have helped out with tonight, and hopefully you guys will look back at this and have a good laugh at it when you guys are seniors in high school.
And we will run the tape when they were seniors, to be sure. Okay, so thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys in less than a couple of years here, I guess. And we'll go back and look at the tape, and we'll move forward. So again, thanks for joining us here on Redskins Future Review.